to another episode of What's Cooking in Dartmouth. I'm your host, Magnolia McComish, the town's communications coordinator, and today we're joined by Melanie Perry. Melanie, can you tell me a little bit about your role, what it is in the town administrator's office?
Sure. I'm Melanie Perry. I work in the Select Board Town Administrator office. I'm the administrative assistant for the town administrator, and I've been tasked with handling the procurement for the town administrator search.
So Melanie, what are we going to be cooking today?
Today we're going to be making oven roasted potatoes and linguica.
All right, so what do we need to do first for this?
First, we're going to heat up some butter in this pan. We're going to add some chopped garlic and onions to that. We're going to let it saute for a little while. We're going to add some crushed red pepper in there, and then we're going to create the sauce that we'll later be pouring over our casserole.
The casserole is going to be made up of the potatoes.
The casserole will have the linguica, chopped onions, and potatoes in it.
Awesome. Okay, so what do we need to do first then? Get the butter in the pan?
Yeah, so let's get some butter in there.
And like when we were talking about this earlier, you said this is not a healthy dish, but that's what's going to make it delicious?
Yes.
So we're gonna let that warm up.
Just let that melt a little bit.
We're definitely gonna need to peel some potatoes.
Yes.
So
while we're waiting for that to warm up, we'll peel the potatoes, chop the onions, chop the linguica.
All right, I'll chop the onion. You wanna peel the potatoes?
Sure.
All right. So Melanie, in this town administrator search, how's it going and what has it entailed so far?
So last month, the select board voted to hire the Collins Center to recruit, to assist recruiting a new town administrator. In June, the town administrator, he gave his resignation, so we've been without one since June.
So you said that at a previous select board meeting, the select board signed a contract with the Collins Center. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the Collins Center is and how they're going to help with the town administrator search?
Yes, so the Collins Center will be in charge of screening the applications, conducting a round of preliminary interviews, and recommending potential finalists to the select board.
The Collins Center looks through all the applications that come in, and then they're gonna let the select board know who they think should be interviewed.
At the meeting on September 23rd, the select board will be appointing 5 members of the community to join a screening committee who will assist the Collins Center in the search.
So they're gonna give like a local input to what they are looking for in a town administrator.
They will be assisting the Collins Center with screening of the applications, conducting round 1 interviews, and recommending potential finalists to the select board.
All right, so anything that the Collins Center is doing is also gonna go through the screening committee?
Yes, they'll work with the screening committee.
And now if someone wants to be on the screening committee, how do they get that done?
So they should submit a letter of interest to the select board office, attention Melanie Perry, or they can also email me. My email is mperry@town.dartmouth.ma.us.
All right, and so in that email, it should include their letter of interest, their resume, and then also any boards or committees they're currently on in town?
Yes, and we've currently extended the deadline to September 16th. So they have a little more time to get that into us. So that way at the meeting, the select board will interview the candidates and pick 5 potential candidates to be on the screening committee.
Is this a good size for the onion, you think? Or a little smaller?
No, that's perfect. You want them to stay a little bit larger. Okay, so we're gonna put those in the casserole, and those other ones are gonna come in here as soon as this is all melted up.
Perfect.
We should probably chop up the potatoes and linguica at this time also.
All right, if you wanna pass the potatoes, I can do those, and then we'll find you a cutting board to do the linguica with.
Okay, great.
Is that how big you want the pieces?
Yes, that's perfect.
All right, if it's not, make sure you tell me. So while we're cutting these up, can you tell me more about what the screening committee is going to do in the search for town administrator?
Yes, so the screening committee, along with the Collins Center, they'll go through all the applications they receive, and then they'll conduct 1 round of preliminary interviews with candidates that they feel are most qualified for the position. And then at the end of that, they'll recommend the potential finalists to the select board.
Okay. Once the select board picks their finalist candidates, interviews them, and makes an offer, who's going to decide how much the new town administrator gets paid?
So the select board is in charge of negotiating the contract. So they will be in charge, the contract will include the pay, the benefits, and the job description also will be included with all of that.
All right. Is there anything else you can tell me about this dish that we're making?
I'm going to try my best with the measurements of the ingredients, but in my Portuguese upbringing, my mom, her recipes include a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I'm going to try my best. I'm going to add some of the onions to this because this is about ready. So I added some of the onions, the onions I would chop finely, I added those to the butter. I'm gonna chop up some garlic also and add that so that can saute in the pan. Just getting our sauce ready. So right now I think we have about 8 letters of interest for the screening committee. We'd like to get a few more in, so that is definitely our goal for the meeting on the 23rd.
And so anyone that's a resident of Dartmouth that doesn't have a conflict of interest, like working for the town or anything like that, is able to apply and get on or potentially get on the committee?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stir up our mixture a little bit here. I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper flakes to it also. So I'm gonna stir this up. I'm gonna add a little bit of sazon here to give it a little more flavor. It also gives it a good color too.
And then that's what's gonna end up staining the potatoes later on?
Yes.
All right, so we've got the sauce simmering.
Yes.
Everything's cut up and ready to go. Maybe we could start loading up the Pyrex.
Sure. I'm just gonna add a little bit of
Garlic powder.
yes.
So can you tell me why we used fresh garlic and garlic powder?
I love fresh garlic. There's nothing I love more. I put at least 3 cloves of garlic in all my dishes. But I feel like the garlic powder gives it more of that garlic taste.
Yeah, so we used about half a clove of garlic in this, and then just a little sprinkle of garlic powder. And then we're gonna get our...
So while that's sauteing, we're gonna go ahead and add the potatoes, the onions, and I'll be done with the linguica in a second. And then we can add all that together. And then our little mixture over here will be ready to pour on top.
Perfect.
Okay. So we're just gonna line the bottom with some olive oil so that we don't want it to stick to the bottom or dry out.
All right. So then you're gonna put some linguica in, and then we're just sort of gonna layer all of our ingredients in.
We're gonna add those in. We're gonna mix it together anyways, but. Okay.
Potatoes, the onions.
All right, let's get the rest of our linguica here. And I do have some more linguica, so I feel like we should chop up the rest.
All right, yeah, we don't wanna let any go to waste.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna make sure everything's evenly distributed in here. We can get our dirty dishes out of the way.
Gonna stir the sauce up a little bit, make sure it's all.
Yeah, we don't wanna burn our butter. So we've got that going on low. And our oven is preheated to 400 degrees. This is gonna take about an hour to cook once it's in the oven.
Yeah, I would say 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so we are gonna wanna We can pour this stuff on top and then mix it together after.
Okay.
Okay, so carefully pour it on top. You don't want to burn yourself. Then you do want to save just like a little bit to drizzle over the top at the end. Okay, so then we're gonna mix it together here. Trying to not make a big mess. When I cook, I tend to make a really big mess in the kitchen.
Well, as long as it gets cleaned up, it's like it never even happened.
Okay, so we can go ahead now and put that in the oven. We'll go ahead and set the timer for 20 minutes. We'll make sure to stir it every 20 minutes.
Great. All right, so we'll check back in 20 minutes. We'll see how it's going in there, and then maybe in the meantime we'll do a little cleanup.
Sure, sounds great.
All right. So we're back about 20-25 minutes later. We're gonna pull it out, we're gonna see how it looks, and we're gonna add a little bit more seasoning.
Yes, we're gonna add some salt, pepper, and a little bit of paprika to the mix. It's looking good.
All right. It does look good. It's starting to brown a little bit. Let's see.
Do you want to add a little bit of, just a little, I think.
Just a little paprika. You can see there's some already on there. All right, some paprika. Some salt. You think more than that, or that's good?
No, I think that should be great.
Yeah, we can always salt again at the end. You can always add more, you can't take away. All right, pepper it up.
I hope everyone is hungry because we have a lot of food.
All right, so once that's all mixed up and seasoned, it can go back in the oven. And depending on how much potato and linguica and ingredients you have is gonna impact how long it takes to cook.
Yes, definitely. I think maybe like another 20 minutes to a half an hour and this should be all set. So we'll go ahead and put it back in and let it cook up.
Yeah, and if you're finding that it's too dry, you can add a little bit of butter to it, but it should be fine.
Okay, so it's been about an hour, so we can go ahead and take it out of the oven.
Wow, that looks really good. Everything got a little crispy on top. The potatoes, you can poke them with a fork and see that they're soft.
Great.
But this looks really hot.
So yes, we're gonna add some of the drizzle that we saved just on top. You can also add it right before you're ready to serve it. It's gonna be a little while before we can eat this. It's really hot. Just a reminder, if you'd like to serve on the search committee, to send in your letter of interest along with your resume to the select board office, attention Melanie Perry, or you can always email it to me.
Yeah, and so the committee, being on the committee could take a couple months, up to 6 months,
Yes,
you think?
so right now the Collins Center gave us a projected timeline of 4 months for them to recruit a town administrator. And then it will take a little while after that before we have one in place, because if they potentially work somewhere, they'll have to give their notice, and that could be a few months.
All right, we're gonna plate this up so it cools down a little quicker. And yeah, this is a good weeknight dinner. It's pretty quick to prep it, and then you just throw it in the oven, and voila. And yeah, not many ingredients, not huge cleanup.
Add some more
And then, yeah, you could probably even do this with some peppers in it if you wanted.
Yeah, you could definitely add some pepper. Some people add some tomato juice, like chopped
Like a canned tomato.
like a canned tomato to it. Yeah, and if you don't like spicy food, you can totally skip all that pepper I added in.
Let's give it a taste.
All right.
Got a little potato, little sauce. It's really good.
I think we did good.
It's a little spicy, but not too spicy.
Mm-hmm.
It's got good flavor. The potatoes aren't bland.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really good, and the onions are like perfectly caramelized in there.
Yeah, it definitely mixed together very well.
Yeah, this is great, Melanie. Thanks for coming on, telling us about the town administrator search.
Thank you for
and
having
making
me.
this delicious lunch.